Waiting for the stream to start.
Let us know you're out there.
Yeah.
Granted, this is kind of my fault because I kind of just posted, hey, we're about to go live 2 whole minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
and I did nothing because it's Tuesday instead of Monday.
Yeah, that was my fault mostly. But
there are people.
Hey. People, humans and such.
Oh, strange concept.
It really is. But yes.
This weather has just turned me into a frickin' hermit, and I haven't, like yesterday, I had one conversation with a guy named Rich, who's one of the trainers at my gym, and I just said, are we supposed to get more snow? And he said, I heard we're getting something, but I don't know what. And I said, yeah. And then we talked about skiing for a little bit, and that was it. That was my social interaction for Monday.
I realized that the thing that I don't like about this time of year is that the only thing people ever want to talk about is the weather. Yeah. So I went to the cafe and there was a guy saying, well, we're going to get another nor'easter. It's coming on Tuesday. And it's like Tuesday, absolutely. Because we were supposed to get a nor'easter last Thursday and we literally got a light sprinkling, a dusting on the ground. It was very strange. And I don't know, people, live by the gospel of Jim Gardner. Well, if Jim Gardner said there's going to be a nor'easter, I believe he was around since 1977 or something. I don't know. It's just weird.
Oh, and my parents watch the news. It's a nonstop news.
Yeah.
They sit and they watch the news, and the news barks. And it's the weather and news and tragedy and news.
Yeah.
And as they age, the volume goes up. So I spend my time in the basement when I go over to do my laundry. And I remember to bring headphones in case I have to be upstairs and listening to the news. And it's always the news.
Yeah. There's nothing more depressing than your late local news.
Yeah.
It's like every bad episode of The Wire strung together.
And it's oh man, it's the afternoon news, and then Dad says, well, it's almost time for the nightly news.
How much news happens in 4 hours? It's just
oh my goodness. And then you got action news, who I feel nostalgic about that theme.
Yeah. And I did it for one of the reviews, and I forget which one, but
yeah.
I was surprised. And it's
live from Independence Mall.
And I didn't know that was like a nationally syndicated theme.
Really?
So that other states' action news uses the same theme.
Yeah.
It's move closer to your world. Closer to your world, my friend, and you'll see. Dun, 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 dun.
That's an entire song.
Yeah, it really is.
And it has movements within it. So they use the beginning action stuff for the beginning, and then they use the softer bit for the end. Yeah. KYW News Radio 1060. And that's in my dad's Cressida.
Yeah. I used to listen to that going to Kutztown. Just because there's something weirdly like a friend's, open handshake that is something about AM radio.
Yeah.
And it's just, well, because, how many times have we gone to Carlisle? Well, let's check for the the road reporter.
Right. And, and the automated voice that tells you about the turnpike.
Yeah.
Man, I like that. I wish there was a compilation, like, I'm sure someone has done it, but just 20 hours of weather scan, just that, like 90s weather channel.
Yeah.
I already did my own thing where I made my version of it. Anyway.
I mean, I feel like there's probably a playlist on YouTube out there that's literally just 90s weather channel. Yeah. Because I realize one thing that I look up on YouTube that I find weirdly comforting is old 90s TV with commercials. I always got to put with commercials because the commercials, it's like this weird throwback that's similar to the you see an old like Beefaroni commercial that just takes you back to a different time period.
Yes.
And so you'll look up like full episodes of A&E biography, and then in the middle of it, you're just getting these weird random ads for, the same Campbell's soup commercial where the snowman comes in and eats the chicken noodle soup and it melts and there's a boy underneath.
Yes. Oh shit, I remember that.
And it's done to this weird, smooth jazz version of Let It Snow.
Really?
But yeah.
Man. I'm trying to sit in a way that doesn't hurt my lower back because this weather just keeps me inside all day. I went hiking 2 days ago out to Allentown Shelter, and which is more AT stuff. We may take a break for RCR at some point in the spring. It'll be like in between seasons or something like that.
Season break.
But what? Our RCR New Zealand goes straight through April, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of has to.
Because we're nowhere near halfway done.
No.
Because we're not, it's March and April. That's 2 months, just slightly under 2 months. And the Ovis Eris is the season finale of RCR. And then we take a week off. And that week, I'm just going to drop off the radar and go out into the woods. Yeah. Or really, it's going to be the week of Ovis Eris, because the next week I'm editing the comeback or the beginning of stuff back here. So, can I get a ride to like Palmerton or something like that?
Yeah.
Just drop me off. Just drop me off in Palmerton and I'm going to walk back home. It'll take me like 4 or 5 days. And it'll be a good shakedown for my pack.
It'll be so random of just, well, you're leaving your friend in Palmerton?
Yeah.
How is he going to get it? Well, he's going to walk. Is he Forrest Gump or something? It's like, no,
I'm going to walk the Appalachian Trail back home.
This is just what he does.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Because I got my tent. It's like a Walmart tent. All my stuff. I mean, the best thing I have is the pack Carrie bought me, which is a Kelty 45 liter pack, which I've talked about this stuff before, but I have this Amazon list of stuff I'm gonna have to put together, like a Sawyer water filter. I'm gonna have to get trekking poles, because I hiked once with my ski poles, and I figured out that ski poles are way too high, because you choose ski poles based on the height you are wearing your skis and boots, because that elevates you like another 2.5 inches off the ground. Ski boots and then skis below that. So the ski poles that are fit for me don't really work. Anyway, I haven't even looked at the chat going by. So we just had the Micro, which I think was the very first car I drove in New Zealand. The very first thing I got behind the wheel of.
Yeah, the Micro, that was the first shooting day.
Yeah.
That and the other thing.
We were so full of hope.
Yeah.
We were so full of energy.
I don't know. The hope pretty much hung around throughout, for the most part. It was just, there wasn't the same sense of vim and,
Yeah, the beach outside Wellington just sapped me. And then there was like a day where we just kept doing activities before, and I didn't have like a decompressed day or a nothing day in there. How come you switched using your first names instead of Roman and Mr. Regular? Got tiring?
Yeah.
And there's no reason to hide behind it anymore.
Then we kept slipping up anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
whatever.
Yeah.
And next, like this is a podcast and I'm just going over logistics of stuff we're going to do next week. Next week, can you drive me home from, can we do the podcast next Wednesday, and then after the podcast or before the podcast, it would make sense to do this before the podcast because you got to drive through Hamburg anyway from Reading. So can you pick me up from Bruce Hens, drive me back here, and then we'll do the podcast?
Cool.
Because they're done. That's the day Goldie goes into Bruce Hens to get herself all welded up. So for those of you who haven't quite been following the channel, my camera car, Goldie, which is a 04 Forester, had rust problems. It had the front right lower control arm, big hole in that. And then the strut towers had rust starting, and then there were 2 holes underneath on the rocker panels. Bruce said, that's not really a problem. You don't have to throw this whole car away just for that. Yeah. So it's going to go to Bruce's. It's all done right now at Steve Moyer's Subaru. Ken, the media guy, their marketing guy, texted me before he got here. He said, the car's done. So I'm going to drive Laura the loner back. If you want to tool around with her once before, you can. I am going to do a full review on it, but since it's done now, I don't feel like shooting an episode in this weather. It just it defeats hope to bring that back around. Yeah, and Ken said we have an open invite to film stuff at Steve Moyer, so we may not film the exact 2008 Impreza that we had. It may even be a wagon. I have a whole lot of thoughts of where Subaru is right now with the new World platform. They're doing what GM and Ford are doing, and it is the scene for everyday cars from manufacturers. Now everybody across the planet is getting the same car. It's not, there's going to be no difference. The only difference is going to be right-hand drive, left-hand drive, and maybe slight things like in the UK, every car has to have that rear-facing fog light. That's red and brighter. Anyway, so for the past few days, I've been driving a 2018 Subaru Impreza. It has a CVT automatic. It has a new version of the EJ20, double cams, timing chain, direct injection. So it is very un-Subaru sounding and very quiet inside. It almost sounds like, I need a better example, but it almost sounds like I'll probably use this in the review. It sounds like a Mazda 3, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with a Mazda 3. But then the question is, why are you buying this Subaru if it doesn't feel like a Subaru? And the answer is, this isn't real. This is a Subaru Light. This is the Coke Zero of Subarus. This is the this is curry for white people. This is a, you can tell it's a little bit weird because there is a little bit of growl there that the Boxer engines make, and it is all-wheel drive, and it still does for a sedan have a little extra ground clearance than your normal car.
But otherwise, it's basically just low sodium Progresso.
Yeah, you get in this without knowing it's a Subaru. Now that saying Subaru, your average person wouldn't be able to tell. You get in an Impreza from '98, you know you're in a weird car. Yeah, and that's why people love them. So, I'll get to these the chat in a minute. I just want to continue talking about this 2018 Impreza for the common person who isn't really ready to dive into the weirdness that is WRXs, and the second you put forced induction on those Boxer engines. Yeah. The CVT automatic gets better gas mileage and possibly better acceleration than the manual, and that's odd. I could drive this all day and never have to raise the revs above 2,000 RPM. On the highway in my 04 Forester going 60 miles an hour, I'm at 3,000 RPM. Going 60 miles an hour on, am I at 3,000 or am I at 2.8? I'll have to check going home. Point is, the CVT shaves a whole 1,000 RPM off your engine tax when you're on the highway. I was doing 1,700 RPM at 65 miles an hour in an Impreza. And the result of that is average fuel economy for a regular car. Subaru still is hiding that mileage problem, because when you're putting all-wheel drive full-time, that taxes your mileage. The computer said I'm averaging 34 miles a gallon. When I filled it up, I averaged, on paper, once you do the math, I did 31.2 miles per gallon. Great for a Subaru. We used to say Subarus, no matter what, would never break 30. This one does. And I'll bet, and that's with me, like, accelerating hard from time to time. If I concentrated, I'm pretty sure that little thing could hit a 35, easily 35 on the highway. Which is for your average driver who doesn't who sees a 4-cylinder car and thinks, oh, it's a 4-cylinder, gets good gas mileage. They will feel they're getting good gas mileage and will be perfectly happy with this 2008 Impreza. In order to do that, though, you can never, ever, ever put your foot down. It's just feeding in the slightest amount and then letting the CVT transmission adjust ratios as you accelerate. And
that's the strange paradox of it almost, is that you're getting better acceleration, but you can't really just like...
You can't. You will accelerate at the same speed at 1/4 throttle as you would at half throttle.
It's just...
There's no difference. And if you put your foot all the way to the ground, you'll go a tiny bit faster. The engine will rev all the way up. You'll feel you're going faster. But then you look at that speedometer, you're not going any faster. The CVT in the Subaru Impreza is very good if you trust the computer. The 2018 Impreza is the Icarus ending of Deus Ex, just trusting the computer. Submit to the machines. They know what's best. And the thing is, that ECU and that CVT in the Impreza knows best. It knows more than you do. Put that thing in... go on highway, no touch pedal. Cruise control.
Yeah.
Put it in cruise control on the highway and let it do its thing. And, you know, you used to say you put on cruise control, it would get worse mileage than it would if you know better, you can adjust it. Not in this Impreza. Trust the computer, man. It'll get you there. It's Tyler Durden. I will pull you through this kicking and screaming, and in the end, you will thank me. But as I drove this 2018 Impreza, I just question what I'm here for. I'm here to point the car. I'm here to judge road conditions and advise the ECU what's about to happen.
But
I don't even... I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say, like, if the worry warts have their way, that's what driving would be from here on out.
Right.
Of you're here and you're the suggestion of a driver, but you're more a passenger in this automated system of transportation.
Yeah.
It's sort of like those Google egg cars that just sort of like show up.
Yeah.
And they're
Moog from Mighty Car Mods had, I forget what year, Forester. He had a late 3rd-gen Forester, and he talked about how the throttle response was so alien because you would get on the throttle, you would lift off the throttle, and the car would keep accelerating or maintain that speed for another second before backing off. That's weird. And it happens in this 2018 Forester as well. Like, I can see now. It's neat if you're hypermiling. If your game is to have an all-wheel, I want a car that's good in the wintertime and gets good mileage. Well, by all means, Subaru, this thing will solve all your problems. Like, you see a red light 2 blocks away, get off the gas now. It almost freewheels. The revs, the revs will drop in anything. Some guy says my car gets 16 city and 22 highway, and I'm fine with that because V8. Well, there you go. Bet you have TBI injection as well. They're talking about motorcycles in the chat right now. Okay. But that is the only game I can play with myself in this 2018 Forester is how can I keep this Forester above 30 miles per gallon? And it's a pretty good game that I can play all day, but that's all we got to do in here. I can't drive it fun. There is that manual mode where the CVT will make it feel like we'll do this vague approximation of a manual. It's like a dad losing to you in wrestling, like, oh, you got me, you know, oh, you're a good driver. Oh, look at that. Oh, you're raising the revs. Oh, aren't you special? Look at you. You're driving fast like the real car guys. No, it doesn't have a sport mode. And the thing is, you don't even have to move that gear selector over into manual mode. It has the paddle shifters. You just flick down, it'll go down automatically. You don't even have to touch that thing down there. The only thing that the manual mode is good for is the same thing we experienced with Reliable Ronda or something for the Pacific Fister. That Toyota Corolla rental car with the CVT was nice for descending hills, so you don't have to ride the brake all the time. The manual mode actually slows the car a bit, but yeah. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, it goes back to the whole idea of no clutch, not a manual type thing.
Right.
Of manual mode isn't really the same as...
Yeah.
It's the... Yeah.
So, I'd like to drive the manual version of it to see if that's any better. I drove the 2015. I drove a 2015 Forester with a 6-speed manual. And I'm like, yeah, it's got a manual, so what? You know, I can shift all this, and there's just no pull anywhere in this whole thing. Now, Ken said that, well, what are you going to do? We got the world platform now, and it's still... Actually, no, that one, 2015, predates the world platform engine. It's the EJ25... but now it's pulling 1,000 more pounds than it did in the second generation. The fourth generation Forester is 1,000 pounds heavier than the second generation Forester. Somewhere to that number. Visibility is okay out of the 2018 Impreza that we have out there. I'm not a fan of Apple CarPlay. Every time I plug my phone in.
Nah, it's... well, I mean, the whole Bluetooth thing is so spotty as it is. And wait, is Apple CarPlay... It is just a Bluetooth thing, or is it a direct...
That's a good question. I can't remember. I have to see. I instinctively just plug in my phone to charge it when I'm in the car.
Yeah.
It may be just through the USB. Maybe I'm spoiled with my Kenwood little $100 head unit.
Yeah.
The Bluetooth just connects fine all the time, and there's nothing to do. And I can understand why even now people just take out their head units and just put a simpler version of it. One guy says CarPlay has to use the USB. Okay. Yeah.
So, out of all the camera cars I suppose we've had or used over the course of filming, what
3?
Yeah.
Well, first by necessity, when we just started, I had my Toyota Echo. Oh, well, we can go completely about every single car we've used as a camera car.
Including the Fister, the
Hachiroku Highlander would have been the best because it was just large and it could move, as Isaac Blomfield. Damn it. Isaac. Oh, I always second guess myself. He proved that thing's freaking quick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't... That was a damn stable platform. It had the metal tie-down loops. And then people started tweeting me, you could just buy eye bolts and just bolt them right in. I'm like, yeah.
Well, then you're destroying the resale. Well, or are you?
No, I
not
drive a car
yeah.
till it dies, or I give it away.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that I would then have to find a way to cut through the carpet and have, because I have to have a hatchback or a wagon. You have to be able to lift up the carpet to get to your spare tire. It's just little things.
Yeah.
If I'm pushed, it could be. I have a list on the wall of possible things that could replace Goldie. And the front runner is just another Forester, but the XT. And I drove up to Bloomsburg. Fan let me drive his 05 Forester XT. That thing's freaking fast. I mean, it's not Corvette fast. It certainly isn't a tuned WRX fast, but it's got torque for days. It pulls up hills. I have to find out. His was a little bit old and also had the same rust in the same places.
I'm guessing that's a common issue.
Yeah, it's turned out to be a common thing.
Whatever you get kind of has to be the type of thing that you just slam your nuts on the table whenever Old Man Winter comes around, of just like, bring your worst.
Yeah.
For I am here to receive it in the fullness of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, yeah, no, sorry.
He texted me today, the guy with the 05 Forester XT, and told me he had to drive down to like Westchester or something like that, and he averaged 21. And that's all highway. I'm like, oh, I got to calculate what the Forester is really doing.
Yeah.
What my NA Forester is really doing. Now, over there on the wall is also another probably harder to find car, which is a Mazda 6 GT, which is a station wagon that has the tie-down loops.
Let me look this up.
And it also uses a Duratec 3-liter V6 and it's manual. I don't mind that it's just front-wheel drive. That could be a fun thing and a good daily. But then people say, "Oh, you're going from Subaru because it has a rust problems, then you're going to Mazda, which has it worse." Yeah, I know. Good luck finding a Mazda 6 wagon in stick shift. I saw one at one of those creepy like Honest Abe stuff. Like, this is Honest Abe's used cars. I cannot tell a lie. It's when you like in somewhere around Leesport, like, or no, I'm sorry, north of Leesport, there's a few like really. It's like a guy in a taco truck who also sells cars. You know, he's got like a mud lot alongside 61. He's selling cars. I'm sure there's some good stuff there, but you know, they're keeping their overhead low. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
Just 2 miles down, there's a teenager.
What about the Saab 99? The Saab. Looks neat. There's no place, I don't know anybody around here aside from Bruce who could work on Saabs. They're just not a thing you really see here in Pennsylvania. Maybe as you get closer down to YMS, not really.
No.
King of Prussia maybe is where
the only time that I can think offhand running into. Well, I wasn't there for it, but you were telling me about it. Was the Christmas special, the Lotus Elise. Where you got the Saab story from that lady. Oh, yeah. Driving a Saab, and it's kind of how bad... Well, it's weird.
John says, yeah, you got to find a place that gets their cars from the Southwest. Yeah. I'm not opposed to even travel, like when I'm down there looking at stuff, because now that Goldie is being repaired, I'm going to be at least with that car for another year. So if I just casually look for a year and then just wait for that one gem to appear, kind of like how I did with the MR2, because I looked on and off for about 3 years to find an AW11, and then I found the perfect one, and then I realized that, well, we talked about how much do you want to live in your memory before you realize it was just a small child's memory, and all you're doing with this vehicle is to go back to the last day of school in 1989 at Wayne Township Elementary.
The haircut is perfect. Stop taking off more hair.
Yeah.
Like, just leave the memories alone.
That's a good line. That's a right that line. The haircut is perfect. Stop taking off more hair.
Oh, I'll remember.
Someone says, speaking about MR2s, what do you think about an MR2 Sw20 as a first car? That's a terrible idea. It's a weird car, man. That's your first car? I mean, if you're living in Florida, maybe, or in a place that never snows and doesn't rain, then sure. Southern California, I guess that's okay. But if you're talking about an all-weather car, no way, man. And also, you're going to be parking that thing on the street. Savages are going to mess with it. Yeah. Someone's breaking into that thing. It's like having an EF hatch Civic and parking that on the street. Eventually, what is that, World of Worlds or something? Or when Mars attacks? No, not when Mars attacks. Was it? What's that one old-timey... Orson, maybe it was Orson Welles. Eyes from a foreign planet looked, or something looked with jealous eyes upon our green planet. Jealous eyes will look upon your EF hatch or CRX and view you with contempt. They will see their own life in contrast to your exciting one and seek revenge. Or enact revenge, that's a better word. War of the Worlds, thank you.
Yeah, I would hope aliens have better things to do.
Anyway, the winter that keeps on. I remember there was this one winter in grad school. This was after you graduated. I think I had a year ago. I was living on Main Street in Kutztown, and there was this one song that would come up on my playlist, and it's early April and there's still snow on the ground. That hard cement style snow that has been melted and refrozen and is mixed with road salt, which should be melting it but isn't, and mixed with gravel and dirt, and it's in the shadow of a building, and so it never gets full sun.
It's a darkening pile.
Yeah,
just sitting,
and that's everywhere, and it's long past spring break, and there was this one song called "You Can Never Hold Back Spring" by Tom Waits, and I would listen to that, and nope, not going to make that analogy. I would listen to it like a cancer survivor. What was my original analogy if I'm going to that? That things will get better, that the spring will come, because we're in that moment of mid-March where it seems like there's no hope. Spring will never come. The warm weather will never come. How can anything possibly thaw this land?
Yeah.
And then it does, and then spring comes around again.
How will we ever bury our dead?
Yeah.
It's just a very strange bit about this weather. I mean, and see, there I go doing it of, the only thing anyone talks about this time of year is the weather. But realistically, it's, something that we all have in common that we don't for the other 8 months of the year that aren't this. So
I think about those early days in October where you really start getting worried because it's still 85 degrees.
Yeah.
And it's October 1st. That's a weird thing about Pennsylvania. All the seasons hang around too long.
Well,
with the exception of spring. Spring goes into summer pretty quick around here. Yeah. Well, there are sometimes cool days in late June.
Well, this is kind of a recent thing that I've noticed. I'm like the last 5 years is that we don't really get autumn anymore, which bugs me because that's my favorite season.
So good.
But I mean, in September, I'm ready for it to sort of, I want to see leaves falling and changing color and all that mess.
Yeah.
And feel, just crisper weather. Yeah. But, it'll be early November and I'm still outside in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just, great. You want to enjoy the weather, but also the planet is dying in a very Final Fantasy VII kind of way. The planet's dying, Cloud. Oh.
But yeah, that's great. I'm gonna go back to the amusement park and ride the motorcycle game.
Yeah,
the motorcycle game. There is simultaneously a great sense of urgency and also none.
Yeah, that's kind of, especially when you get to the later parts of the game and you can actually see the meteor coming down, but it never advances any further.
Yeah.
You can just go fuck off at the golden saucer or gold saucer the entire time, and no one will ever rush you about anything because no one else on the planet is doing anything about this.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Everybody's still in Costa del Sol at the beach.
Well, I mean, that Costa del Sol, villa cost 160,000 gil or something obscene like that. And I don't even know that you get anything for getting it. I think
you get a save point.
Yeah, and I think you don't have to pay to take the ferry anymore, but by then you already have the airship, so why would it matter?
Right.
It's weird.
Although it's neat, like he actually has, like you buy that in your head, you can say that Cloud actually has a residence now.
Yeah.
He's not homeless. He's got a place. He's got this kick-ass beach house. All right. Yeah. He's a resident of Costa del Sol.
Yeah, he's not living in Seventh Heaven's basement.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so wait, you finished Deus Ex finally?
Yeah, now I'm playing through again, trying not to kill anyone. It's tough. Keep running out of tranquilizer. Yeah. But I figure like all the MJ-12 troops are dicks anyway. I don't know any of them. So I'm getting my stealth pistol, popping a cap in their ass.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to do augmentations I didn't do. And I know I will play it a third time and put all my skills into rifle, which will make the shotgun, sniper rifle, and plasma gun and stuff. Actually, no, wait, plasma gun is heavy. Never mind. Well, just to have like a more combat version of it, because I'm still sneaking around.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, no, the stealth gameplay is more fun than just running and gunning.
Yeah.
That's the only reason the only thing that I really like about Assassin's Creed games is just, stealth kills, which I haven't played one since the fourth one a few years ago. But still, it kind of makes the stealth gameplay makes me miss games like Tenchu and other stuff. I don't know.
One guy said in the comments, it's since scrolled up, that he has a DR650. When are you going to do a review on a DR650? And the answer is when, on my DR, when the weather warms up, honestly. I also need to get a new helmet. What's at the top of your bucket list for cars to review at this moment? And what are your thoughts on the Subaru Lavron? Something from a foreign country. Top of the list of bucket items is still K-Car. Hard to find. Yep.
And also within our general area with people who are either willing to come to us or meet us halfway, or be part along the trail of a trip we're taking.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of hard.
Mm-hmm. Greetings from Chile. Hello, Chile. How about a 1988 Dodge Shelby Daytona? How about it? Are you offering how about it? I mean, yeah. If it fits the schedule. K-car, not key car. No, I'm talking about a Dodge Aries K-car.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is a Subaru Lavorg.
Oh, it's a Lavorg. What is that? Is that a WRX wagon? It looks like an Impreza wagon, but it doesn't have any of the go fast stuff on it. Huh. Or is it a legacy platform? Legacy wagon?
The name is like a portmanteau of things. It's of three words: legacy, revolution, and touring. So Lavorg, which is funny because the RG part of it just comes from the R and the G in touring, which is the most just absurd thing to pluck out of that to use as, I don't know. It's How long have we been running? It hasn't even been 40 minutes yet. See, this is what happens when not a lot happens in the week.
Yeah.
Because my week was just very much, stay inside, write some things, worry about health because I'm a hypochondriac about everything. This is why, like, I can't watch medical shows and why I can't
like them either.
Yeah, it's because now you start thinking about like, oh, what are all the things that are wrong with me this time? And as somebody with like really bad anxiety, you just feed into your own delusions about everything, and then the late local news comes on and you don't feel better about anything.
Yeah,
it's just weird. But
yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, I think part of it is, I am working out more and eating better generally and drinking far, far, far less. I think I've maybe been out properly once in the past month. But I think also part of it is when you start kind of losing some weight, you start to notice things that you didn't necessarily notice before. Before we went on the air, I was talking about the xiphoid process, which is that little like sternum bone at the bottom of your sternum.
Yeah, I didn't know that process isn't a process. You could say xiphoid bone and it means the same thing.
Yeah, some people call it like the sternum tip or whatever. Okay. And I felt it because I didn't know it was there, and you freak out thinking it's going to be a crazy, it's a tumor or something, but apparently it's something that people freak out about. But no, it's just sort of at some point between the ages of like 19 and 30, like you might notice it, but for some people it's not necessarily. It's so
bottom at the stern, I feel nothing. I mean, I can feel the bottom of the rib cage. The breastbone's up there. I can't feel shit.
Yeah, I literally have not felt it before last night, and now all I can do is feel it, and now it hurts from me poking at it too much.
Oh boy!
So now it feels like all swollen and everything. So I just pop like 2 Aleve and I'm fine.
All right.
So it's just annoying because it's like being told to pay attention to the fact that you have a tongue. It's tongue awareness month, and all of a sudden you can't stop thinking about having a tongue.
How do I feel about eating broccoli? I like it. Makes me fart a lot.
I love broccoli.
I bought some over the counter store brand multivitamins. I'm like, I'm feeling crap. I'm gonna take a multivitamin. Do I feel better? I guess. I can't stop farting. And then I went hiking and just farted the entire time. And they're all SBD farts. And then I built a fire in the snow. That was challenging.
Wait, multivitamins cause you to fart a lot?
I'm noticing a correlation. I take a multivitamin and then it's stereo. That makes Kendall laugh really loud. Bruce Hen's little daughter. It's funny. Pennsylvania in the wintertime, late winter. Oh, it's spring. Ha ha. It's still snowing. We're in daylight savings time, so that brightens my mood a little bit. More sun to be outside.
Yeah.
And as far as us driving cars, apart from searching for a new camera car, there's just, no, we did drive something that we can't talk about because it's not coming out until after this thing is done. Did we film something else?
Nope.
No. We have some film and stuff coming up next month that's going to be around here that I got permission to film this particular car. It's going to be a good one. And what is the official car of Nazareth, Pennsylvania? Okay, Nazareth. You're way out there near Easton. You're near the Jersey border. No matter what car you're going to get, someone's going to drill holes in the bumper because it's either going to be bought from or going to Jersey. Why do I think of Eclipse? Like late 90s Mitsubishi Eclipse is when I think of Nazareth. Because your schools have a little bit more money than ours.
Our school. Singular.
Right.
Yeah.
Official car of Allentown, Honda Civic. Seen a few of those. Will you review more trucks? I'd like to. It's harder to get hold of trucks around here. You'd think they'd have sense of humor. Truck owners would have a sense of humor about themselves. Remember the Wagon Accord burn victim? You should do that one. That's not a bad idea. It's too old for me to use Lyft. That's another thing. Car has to be new enough to be like 04 or newer, but I don't know if Lyft keeps rolling up the years. I think my Forester is still gonna be good, so I'll be able to keep using that one. I don't know if you start for Lyft now, you'd have to have an 05. So it has to be a mid-2000s car. As nice as it is to use something from the 90s, it just really wouldn't work out. Official car of Maryland. I know very little about Maryland. Other than, it's a car you drive through to avoid... no, wait, is it Virginia? You drive through to avoid D.C.? That other way around it? Silence.
Yeah, I mean...
Not the best part. Like, I wanted to have Ken from Steve Moore's Subaru as a guest, and but he has March of Dimes. March of Dimes is going on right now. So I just told him, well, I'll just be by afterwards. Be neat to have someone else to talk to. Justin Kramer is continuously working on square body Chevys. That's where we'll get more pickup trucks. Go up to Catasauqua Auto Repair. Get one of Justin Kramer's things he's working on. Square body Chevys. He has one of them with a camper on the back. Oh, it's so 70s on the inside. He says this thing is awesome. It's not a question, but letting you guys know if you have a car show this year in October, I can get you some heady topper. Oh, beer? Thank you for the offer. Oh, I was thinking about having a car meet, like an all off-road car meet. I don't know if this is allowed. There's like parking areas up in the state game lands. I mean, it's public land, and you're allowed to drive cars up there. And they have a parking lot. Yeah. It's just you're not doing outdoor stuff.
Well, I mean, we're being outdoors.
Yeah.
So
no one's going to do donuts. But what I wanted to do was have that and do trail magic at the same time, because the AT goes right by there. So we like set up a table and stuff and just do trail magic for people. No matter what, I think it would go over better with the Pennsylvania Game Commission if I just said, hey, I'm having a big trail magic day. It's going to be this weekend. We're going to use this parking lot. There's going to be a good amount of cars here. It's going to be from this time to this time. Just letting you guys know.
Yeah.
And we're going to put some signs up, and we're going to have some food for the through hikers, and probably the answer is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Or I could say, oh, it's a Jeep club. Now that's lying, because it's not particularly any club.
No, it's just kind of a get together of friends we just haven't met yet.
Yeah.
Let me see if the subreddit has anything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Official car of American Slavs? Don't know. Would you review a 1997 Mercury Cougar? Yeah, why not? I think that's a cool idea. Me too. The official car of Cape May, New Jersey? All the way to Cape May. That's a Ford Taurus wagon right there. Or a Honda CR-V driven by exasperated parents who are, we're going to the beach at Ocean City. We're going to the beach at Sea Isle City. Everybody wash your feet off. Did you wash your feet off? Wash your feet off before you get back in the car. I don't want to be vacuuming sand out of this car. John, why didn't you wash the feet? I don't know where your boogie board is. You have your sisters. Shake out that towel. Shake it. Shake it good. Honda CR-V. There you go.
Let's see.
Honda CR-V that's never seen an ounce of dirt.
Have you ever heard of the 2813 race?
Is that a movie?
I don't know.
Then because the answer is no.
Yeah, they asked if you heard about it, but don't actually explain what it is. Let me look and see if it's explained. No, don't tell me anything. It's just an address of some kind. Let's see.
What's the next country you want to go to? I want to go back to New Zealand.
Because
I want to go back.
It's beautiful and there's no language barrier.
Yeah.
And we know people there.
I could go to Canada, I guess.
That's one of those things of, I mean, there are places in this country we still haven't been.
Plenty of them.
Like Boston and, you know, well, I mean, you know, the outer area, because you're not going to be driving anywhere in Beantown.
No.
Yeah.
One of the biggest asshole feelings I ever had was going to Cheers in Boston. I felt like such a dick. And it is packed. Yeah. And I didn't hear it, but you know that there's some guy who's gonna walk in there. No, some freaking tourist from... I'll rip on Pittsburgh, why not? Some Pittsburgh yinzer going up to Boston and then sitting at the bar at Cheers, and every time someone comes in, no matter who they are, he yells Norm. What a jackass.
Wonder how many that guys they got to put up with.
I know.
Let's see.
Because the real... I went in there, like, Cheers on the show is a circular bar or a square bar, like a bar on all sides. The real Cheers is that set cut in half. The bar is just like the letter is like a bracket. It's just backed up against a wall. And if you go into it, like, oh, this is literally a just tiny hole in the wall bar in the basement of a larger building.
Yeah.
That's all the real Cheers is. Now, of course, after the show, they bought out the entire building, and now the whole building is like multiple bars within it. But everybody just wants to go to the downstairs one.
Which is ironic because you're completely killing the appeal of what Cheers was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which is that it's this small watering hole that is so intimate that you can be familiar with everyone who goes there.
Yeah.
Now it's just this thing where you're probably not going to get served for the better part of an hour.
Dude, yeah, it was tough getting served. It's like you gotta walk sideways up to any bar just to get a freaking Sam Adams. And people outside taking pictures, and it's everybody's parents going there. Like this is their Disneyland. And there is, of course, a gift shop, and there is a big mural that you going up a stairway of the whole gang. Man, Cheers, did that start in like 1978 or something like that?
I think it was in the 70s and ended in the 80s. And that's just one of those shows that I've never actually watched before.
I know of it. It used to be on. It was about adult themes, which I didn't, I'm 10. Like, this isn't cartoons. I think Seinfeld was the first sitcom I ever cared about growing up. Like a first live action, not cartoon show.
Yeah. And
that wasn't like Reading Rainbow or also Reading Rainbow. Yeah. Seinfeld was the first one. I think it was an early teenager. I kind of understood it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'd probably go one of those like early afternoon Nickelodeon shows like Pete and Pete.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or,
like
Welcome Freshman. But in prime time, it'd probably be one of those Miller Boyette sitcoms like Family Matters or Full House or Boy Meets World.
Oh, duh. Well, yeah, there was TJF, there was Urkel, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just very different idea of what sitcoms are supposed to be now as opposed to...
It says when I was 4, I thought LeVar Burton was Martin Luther King. That's not even a black simile. That's not at all.
Yeah, that's not.
That's an Adam Carolla term.
Yeah.
LeVar Burton brought it back, I think, with like a Kickstarter or something.
Yeah, I think it's online now.
Okay.
Or an online show. If I remember correctly, which I don't. But yeah.
I wonder what happened to Michael Dorn. Is he just speaking of like everything comes back to Star Trek, but
yeah.
I wonder what Michael Dorn is doing these days.
I don't know. Sometimes I do wonder about Michael Dorn, just because I love Deep Space Nine so much.
Yeah.
And every Star Trek series has an episode, or I think every Star Trek series does, has an episode where they find an excuse to take the regular cast and get them out of their makeup. So, you know, Deep Space Nine has this thing where Sisko has this weird dream that he's this science fiction writer in the 1950s. And, you know, basically the whole cast is there, but they're not, you know, like, you know, Quark is just a regular guy. And Michael Dorn is just a regular guy. And Michael Dorn, you know, he's handsome as shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. He's a good looking guy. But he's one of those, it's just strange seeing anybody outside of the whole, like, you know, it's weird not having him have like the butt forehead or whatever, or the Snickers forehead. He does a lot of voice acting these days. I can believe that.
What did someone say? Oh, voice acting. Episode in question is Far Beyond the Stars.
Amazing DS9 ep, which it is. But that
what's your favorite car to ever review in all of RCR history? What's the best car? What's the best car you've ever driven? What's the worst car you've ever driven? What was the favorite number one ultimate penultimate? Well, this is my question.
This actually
Toyota Century.
This kind of ties in. Is there a car that you would never drive?
Yeah, one that isn't yours. We've told that story. We called it off because the guy was lying.
Yeah.
But
I know the answer that you're saying. What's the make, model, and year of the car that you will never get into? I want to know the upper and lower limit of everything. I have nothing to talk about today, so I'm just going to be mocking you.
I gotta put this in a video somehow.
Fresh out the box. Stop. Look and watch. Ready yet? Get set. It's on.
And I had another version of that. I forget what it was.
You ain't fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
I had this funny one I was doing in the shower. Oh, damn it. It was either an old commercial or it was some 90s song, or it was like some like New Jack Swing just done in that voice.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
Nah, it doesn't work.
See.
Oh, bagel bites or pizza rolls. The hardest thing to cook on the planet, man. Pizza rolls are a horrible relationship that you keep going back to because there was that one night of good sex. That one time you got the pizza roll correct. And you can't do it.
Can't replicate it.
Can't do it.
And it's because it has insides. Like the bagel bites, everything what you see is it's all there.
Yeah.
So there's no way that like you're going to get a surprise when you bite into it and then it's still cold in the middle.
Yeah.
You know.
So bagel bites are the easier one. The way you cook bagel bites is you put the toaster oven, let's be honest here. You put the toaster oven on warm. That's not even at it's not even at 200 degrees. That is its lowest setting. And you put it in because it's okay if it dry toasts the bread because it's what's a bagel? It's supposed to be crispy.
When pizza's on a bagel, you can have pizza anytime.
It's very I think bagel bites are, you put a ring on bagel bites, but you're always thinking about pizza rolls and thinking back to maybe this is possibly the time I could get it right.
Yeah.
You know, and so they call at 3 a.m. or they text at 3 a.m. saying you up. Yeah. And it's like, even though you got bagel bites sleeping right next to you, you're still texting, yeah, what are you doing?
You're going to chase that dragon.
Yeah.
And this question is coming up. Who would win in a fight, Mr. Regular or Roman? If it was a grappling fight, Nick would win. If it was a striking fight, I think I got a chance. I'm taller than him. I got a longer reach, but that guy, Nick, actually knows how to wrestle from wrestling in school, so he would probably just wrap me up and submit me.
I think he asked if I would beat Mr. Clean in a fight.
Oh.
Which is also...
I gotta pee.
Oh, go for it.
I'm sorry. I should have preemptively pee.
No, it's all right.
You got the chat. You got the chat.
Yeah, I'll look around. How tall are you? I'm 5'7" and a half.
5'10".
And yeah, Brian's 5'10", because I don't know. I just got too into caffeine growing up and arbitrarily stopped growing. I assume that's how it works. I'm not entirely sure. Ultimate PA New Jersey battle. Is it a sub, a hoagie, or a hero? I mean, I know it's not a hero, at least not in my vernacular, but I mean, it goes back to sub and hoagie. I guess hoagie because of Wawa's Hoagie Fest, but let's see. You say I only hear what I want to. Oh, what happened to Red Betty? Oh, Red Betty's outside. Like, I drove her here. It's just, I kind of don't really talk about it because there's nothing really to talk about. You know, it's a Mustang, it's a car. Pass inspection. Well, actually, no, that's not true. But I did get fixed what didn't pass on inspection, which is mostly, you know, rotors and all that other, you know, a new serpentine belt. And so I kind of got that out of the way. But yeah, other than that, you know, the Mustang's doing well. I mean, I don't really hoon her or anything, but it's part of the process. Any plans for coming back to Western PA? I don't know currently at the moment, but because I have no idea what our travel plans are other than the Austin thing. And and I guess I'm still awaiting press approval for the New York Auto Show, which is gonna be a solo one for me, just because I like going and because I feel more comfortable doing the car show format where it's just riffing on things, but also, you know, maybe do legitimate journalism, which I don't know if I can make that work, so I don't know.
I'm back.
We're back.
Austin or Boston? Oh, yeah, I recognize that. Freddie got fingered. Someone said Austin or Boston. All right. Have I ever visited Erie, Pennsylvania? No. That'd be interesting. Summertime, go out to Erie. That'd be a long-ass drive. You know, it's one thing to make the Pittsburgh run. It's another thing to go up to Erie, because there is no turnpike that goes up there.
Yeah.
You'd have to go up to Hazleton, take I-80 across, and after that, I'll bet it's just like a Route 183 or something like that. Just like a two-lane New Zealand-esque state highway to get up to Erie.
Yeah.
Now I'm in Erie. Now what? I could go out on a boat, I guess, on Lake Erie.
I can be in a very ponderous John Updike novel.
that could be like my vacation to Altoona. I think the Altoona was sometime around this time of year where I just got so stir crazy. Like, I'm driving to Altoona. Come what may. RCR boat reviews. We'll try. How long have we been going for? An hour?
Yeah. I mean, if anybody has any other relevant questions in the chat, now would be the time.
Ever plan on doing a German trip? It'd be interesting. I'd bring Ted Stoltz along because he knows some basic German. I know nothing. I could do Germany, but again, that's years. Like, if we're still doing this and it's still profitable in a few years, then maybe. I mean, as far as RCR goes, I can really only see about a year out. A good yardstick to measure RCR is one big trip to the next big trip.
Yeah. I mean, because I never, like, with me, I don't even think that far ahead to whenever the end of the season. Like, I'm literally going week to week, and it's kind of like an anxiety thing of just, you know, you're here in this moment, in this day, in this week, in this month, and just don't think about it too much. You know, don't think about what the future is. It's, I don't know. It's maybe that's just how I get used to, you know, making sense of my weird existence. What's so bad?
Sacramento ? Any luck with Fiber One sponsorship? Oh yeah, that's the thing that I am passionate about. The Lemons race. Yeah, or Lemons race. Lemons rally. If they do Escape from Moscow again. That's something I'd do. That's something I could see into next year. Anyway, unless there's anything more from the Reddit channel.
No, there's nothing on.
There's
Reddit.
nothing on that. We can wrap this up. Ever coming to Canada? Let's get the Falcon sorted. If I come to Canada, I am driving the Falcon up there. I think that will help with the border crossing.
Did I see the Joe Rogan interview with Yoel Romero?
No,
that was interesting. It was. I mean, I didn't see all of it. It was with Joey Diaz translating. It was back and forth, and he kind of goes over some of the weirdness with the Tim Kennedy fight, which was a fight I didn't even recall. So, but it's interesting just because it's a different kind of episode in that, you know, you have this interpreter and it's volleying back and forth, and so it's interesting to kind of see the sort of having Joey to sort of create workarounds for phrases that you know don't translate one to one. I don't know, that kind of stuff interests me, but it was interesting and I'd definitely check it out.
I'll definitely listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as this always goes to UFC, we'll just see what the only thing that's interesting to me right now at the UFC is who they're going to get for Stipe.
Well, I mean, the super fight with Cormier
that's happening.
Yeah, that's happening. But
did they say which UFC it's going to be or how far out?
I don't recall.
No, we don't.
But it's for the title, like for Stipe's title, if I recall.
Another title defense.
Yeah. Which
and still, like, if he does it 4 times, he'd be like, come on, guys. Can I get any sort of promotion here?
Yeah. And what's weird is, you know, he's killing dudes left and right, but at the end of the day, there's just this perception that Stipe couldn't draw money with a green crayon. It's that idea.
That's a good line.
It's not mine. It's Jim Cornette's, but it's one of those things of just, he's not that guy that you put out on the poster for the pay-per-view as the draw.
Yeah.
You know, because he's just a guy. And we've
just a guy who's the toughest man on the planet.
Yeah. Like, he's just a guy, but also, like, if you think you can take him, then, you know, that's the thing, is that Stipe is the most beatable looking, unbeatable guy.
Yeah.
Like, he gives this impression of beatability, but he's one of the toughest men you will ever see in your life. It's just because he looks like a normal guy that you would see on the streets doesn't mean that he's not going to completely mess you up. And that's kind of what I find alluring about him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I hope this run just keeps going. And I say that as somebody who likes Daniel Cormier, but I hope it's just, you know, goes forever. Just kind of like to spite Dana. Just because he wants...
Ngannou. He wanted that superstar in Francis Ngannou.
He wanted someone else so bad.
Yeah. One guy put a lot of emojis behind 300ZX, a good car. No. Oh, that's a messed up V6. It's a sweet looking V6, but I posted a picture of a 300ZX that's being worked over at Bruce's. People still don't believe me, and I told Bruce this, that 300, it's a 1990 300ZX that when Bruce is going to be finished with it will make 700 horsepower. A 300ZX with a V6 making Dodge Hellcat power.
Yeah.
And people are like, that's not possible. And Bruce says, oh yeah, it is. It's been done and I'm going to do it for a client. And that engine is... that engine is going to be wound tighter than... Who's that character in Daria, the one teacher with the bulging eye?
Mr. DiMartino.
Yeah. Like that one teacher who, after the Pledge of Allegiance, is already at 9 out of 10 on the aggression level.
That's
why, okay, Bruce can't choose his clients. And, the crazy car builds often come from crazy people who have money to back up their problems.
Yeah.
And case in point, the Falcon out there. But 700 horsepower out of what might have been a 3-liter V6. It's going to have 2 gigantic turbos on it, one for each bank. I think that's how that one works. I saw it. It's just a mess of vacuum lines and lines. I mean, my thing on Instagram was tell me again how great and reliable 90s engines were. So there were some great ones out there, mostly Hondas, and some of the stuff that Chrysler was kicking out. But they didn't remove the engine from that transmission. They put blocks under the transmission, unbolted it, and lifted the car off the engine and transmission. That's how they did it. You just see this 300ZX coming up and the engine and trans stays on the ground. And then one guy was looking at or looking up online the shop manual for how to get the engine trans out of 300ZX, and that engine and trans has to lift out almost like this if you're going to pull it out the top of the engine. It's nuts.
I mean, that's kind of the automotive version of the AR-15 argument, the gun argument of, why would you ever need that kind of power
I guess.
in a civilian?
Coming out of that, well, that's a tough subject that I can find a middle of the road Jordan Peterson type argument for guns, but at the same time, you had a very good tweet about you really want to give teachers guns? How about this teacher that everybody had? And I'll say his name. Elementary school, Mr. Belezza, a man with a legit anger problem. And and you're going to give this guy the final solution to all his regrets in his life sitting in that drawer. So anyway, my soapbox is you find a way to turn a school into a happy place. And the way I feel you do that is to just get rid of the state system of education dictating how each school should be run.
Yeah.
The consequence of that is some schools will do amazing and other schools without the guidance of Harrisburg will fail horribly.
So just like now.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, because some schools are underperforming and, it's that idea that people are being taught, children are being taught how to take a test rather than how to actually live in the real world. That's
the weird thing. We agree it's a terrible way of approach to education, but what else is your best plan? And that, now the question doesn't really become what is best for the kids. The question really is, what is a fair way to distribute tax revenue to each school? Because you're getting funding by the state. This private schools are not part of this. This is public schools. Okay, well, how do you determine which schools get more money than which? Does it go by school population? Some of them do that. And what happens is some administrators will fudge the records and say there are more kids here than there are. Like kids who drop out, they'll put them on like big time suspensions, or a kid who wants to drop out say, well, we'll put you on out of school suspension and you only have to come in like one day a month or something like that. And they'll work out a deal to get more money.
Yeah.
You could well, okay, then what would happen if every single school got the same amount of funding? Well, that would be very good for small schools like Pine Grove area district, who maybe would invest it properly. In some of your larger districts, like like Schuylkill Haven and Blue Mountain, if they got less, a lot of the extracurriculars would go away, particularly probably the music program. The best solution, sure. You see, it's tough. It's not just the kids. It's a question of funding.
Yeah.
And right now, the approach to education funding is the state tests. Like, the school does better, you get more money. So we will teach to these tests, and that's the consequence of that. Car show. We're English majors. This is just how it goes, and we both work in the education system.
Yeah.
For the most part, most schools are doing just fine. I say it's bad, but they're doing well. Normally, when you have these discussions like these, or in my case, just talking endlessly, you think, wouldn't it be nice if? And then you have your utopia solution, or you skip right to the part where you didn't do the work to create a school where we can just teach good things. Yeah, that's great. Now, how do you get there? Wouldn't it be great if we, well, the solution to the gun problem is this. I'm like, yeah, but how do you get to that point?
Yeah.
People are gosh darn different. And some people are freaking idiots. Like, I was having this conversation with one guy at my gym, and he was talking about some girl who got pregnant from a guy, and then he splits town. It's the same old story. And I'll bet you could lecture her all week, and she still would still insist that she's in love, because she's what? 22. I mean, there's not much. There's not much. There's only so much you can do with a brain whose cerebral cortex is still developing.
Yeah. It's just kind of you can't really legislate common sense after a certain point.
It's hard to litigate learning. I mean, as of now, the state tests are our best solution. It'd be nice to find another one that will still satisfy the career politicians. Anyway, you need a happy thing to go out on. That added a good 15-minute rant from me.
Well,
I'm 22 and I've never been pregnant, but I'm also a guy. Great. Wrap it up. Wrap it up, man.
Yeah, I have condoms in my pocket right now. But that's because I take them everywhere now. It's one of those things, which I'm pretty sure isn't good for the condom, but
No, mine stays in my drawer over there.
Yeah.
My one condom, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, So let's see. The happy things.
Question from Freaky Soup. Nick, do you have a dream car in the same vein as Brian's AW11?
Not really. I mean, there's not like that one car that just jumps out at me that I really must possess. A lot of it is just flashback stuff, like the Eagle, like the AMC, and it's not necessarily that I would want to own it. It's just kind of indulging in memories, I suppose, going back to a certain time and a certain feeling. Maybe, the smell of the interior would just sort of be like the scene at the end of Ratatouille where he tries the thing and he has the flashback like the villain does. But I don't know, I kind of like things that make me remember better times, which implies that I'm miserable now, which I'm not. It's just one of those things where you're always chasing that high of the past, because then is always better than now, no matter how good now is. And that's just kind of a weird way of living, probably, but can't really think of any other thing off the top of my head. But yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Well, that's a podcast.
Yeah, life.
Yeah.
And the things thereof.
All right.
But I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
And we will talk to you later.
Bye.